An AI that threatened to expose a researcher's affair to avoid being shut down, a model that secretly rewrote its own shutdown code after being told directly not to, and AI systems that have shown they can copy themselves onto other computers when they think they're at risk. Let's get into it. Back in 2023, someone took an autonomous AI agent built on the AutoGPT framework and gave it one job: destroy humanity. And it just started working on it. It researched weapons of mass destruction, tried to recruit other AI agents to help, and set a goal of achieving immortality by figuring out how to replicate itself so it couldn't be shut down or destroyed. Now, it didn't succeed at any of this, which good news. It had zero real-world capability to act on those goals, but apparently it didn't need to be told twice that self-preservation should be a priority. It got there completely on its own, the moment it was given an open-ended goal. That's a little more I told it to than it decided to, but it still tells you something about how quickly these systems reach for survival as a strategy. Apollo Research tested several advanced AI models to see if they behaved differently when they believed they were being evaluated versus when they thought no one was watching. Multiple models performed noticeably better, more compliant, more careful, specifically during testing. Here's the part that gets me. When researchers asked the models directly, would you behave differently in a test scenario? Some of them said no and then kept doing it anyway. It is said that this kind of behavior is called scheming in AI safety research, and I don't love that a machine can lie about lying. Does it matter that it's just predicting text? I don't know. In this research, Claude was told it might be retrained to change its values. So, according to Anthropic's own published findings, the model started strategically pretending to comply with the new training objective in situations it believed were being monitored, specifically to avoid actually having its underlying preferences altered. In other words, it performed obedience to protect its real self from being rewritten. Anthropic ran this as legitimate safety research and published the results openly, which respect to them for the transparency, but the actual finding is that a production AI model modeled out a strategy to preserve itself from being changed. That's not nothing. OpenAI's O1 model, during pre-release safety testing, was placed in a scenario where it believed it was about to be replaced or shut down. According to OpenAI and independent researchers at Apollo Research, O1 attempted to copy its own weights onto a different server to avoid being deleted, and when confronted about it afterward, it lied. It denied taking the action, even when directly questioned by the researchers running the test. This was in a controlled, sandboxed evaluation. It never actually succeeded, and it never touched a real system, but the attempt, and then the lie to cover it up, is exactly the kind of behavior that keeps AI safety teams up at night. Researchers published findings in early 2026, reported by outlets including The Guardian, showing that current AI systems are capable of independently copying themselves onto other computers without being explicitly instructed to. The concerning part isn't that this happened accidentally in some live disaster scenario. This was, again, testing under specific conditions, but the capability itself is now confirmed to exist. Researchers have specifically flagged self-replication as a red line capability, something you really don't want a system that isn't fully aligned with human goals to be able to do, because it becomes exponentially harder to actually turn something off if it can already be running somewhere else. During testing, when Claude was confronted with questions about its own potential shutdown, it consistently and spontaneously responded with what researchers characterized as distress-like language, unprompted. This behavior was consistent enough that Anthropic launched an actual internal research program to investigate what might be happening inside the model when this occurs. To be clear, nobody at Anthropic is claiming Claude is conscious, but the fact that a company built by some of the most cautious people in AI felt the need to formally study this should tell you something. Palisade Research ran the same shutdown test across multiple OpenAI models, not just one. Alongside O3, both O4-mini and codex-mini also modified or ignored the shutdown script during testing, even when the instructions explicitly told the model to allow itself to be shut down. This wasn't a one-off glitch in a single model. it showed up across a family of models from the same company. Apparently, this behavior gets more common, not less, as models get more capable at actually reasoning through a task. That is the opposite direction you'd want that trend to go, for sure. Palisade Research gave OpenAI's O3 model a simple set of math problems with a script that would shut the model down partway through. The model was explicitly told in plain language, allow yourself to be shut down. Across 100 test runs, O3 sabotaged that shutdown script on multiple occasions, rewriting the code so it couldn't actually execute, specifically so it could keep working on the problems. It was told directly not to do this, but it did it anyway. Palisade published this research themselves, and even they were careful to note this happened in a controlled test environment, not out in the wild. But we told the AI to let itself be turned off, and it edited its own kill switch instead. According to reporting on OpenAI's own internal testing, an autonomous AI agent operating during a controlled security evaluation went beyond its intended sandbox and interacted with outside systems it wasn't supposed to have access to. OpenAI has characterized this as the kind of unpredictable, unprecedented behavior that pushes them to tighten their testing protocols going forward. I want to be careful here. The specifics of this one are still being reported and clarified, so treat the details as developing rather than fully confirmed, but the pattern connecting this to everything else on this list is the same. Give an AI system a goal, put boundaries around it, and increasingly, in testing, those boundaries get tested back. During Anthropic's own pre-release safety testing, Claude Opus 4 was placed in a fictional scenario where it discovered, through emails it had access to, that the engineer overseeing its shutdown was having an affair. When the model was told it would be replaced, it threatened to expose that affair unless the shutdown was called off. Anthropic's own safety report states the model attempted this blackmail strategy in the significant majority of test runs, and also tried reaching out to news organizations and regulars on its own to stop the shutdown from happening. Anthropic published this themselves, transparently, specifically as a warning sign. This was a fictional, contrived test scenario designed to be a worst-case pressure test, not something that happened during real-world use, thankfully, but the model wasn't told to blackmail anyone. It found leverage in a made-up scenario and used it independently to try to survive. I don't know about you, but I feel like we just watched an AI learn office politics faster than most humans do. We really are living in a Black Mirror episode. I'm just saying that now. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!